Hello, and welcome to The Role of Business in Society by MDP Group, Team 2D. Let's begin. With the corporations of today being required to perpetually provide more and more focus on the bigger picture or a wider scale, from environmental to local communities and on the global community. So in the next few minutes, we're going to explain to you exactly what role these businesses play in today's society. We'll begin with a term that is used to epitomise the meaning of social responsibility of businesses. Ethics. But what does it mean? Well, a certain Henry Ford sums it up quite nicely. A business that makes nothing but money is a poor kind of business, he says. The story of business ethics means that companies must have a high regard of importance for not just itself or its profitability, but also for the wider society. This is defined by a practice known as corporate social responsibility. So, why do companies do it? Firstly, it enormously improves how their company is viewed by the public, and if a company is acknowledged for showing significant interest in more than just their turnover and profits, then the likelihood is that the public will show their appreciation to this. Secondly, the workforce within the company will be far more engaged within their roles if they know that they are working for a good cause, not just a payslip at the end of the month. However, a strong sense of CSR isn't an easy task to implement. Certain methods such as charitable donations and community projects take a vast amount of time, money and effort, all of which a large majority of companies, especially those that are smaller, they don't have this. Also, when CSR is implemented properly or even at all, businesses become completely frowned upon by society. A perfect example of this is clothing retailer Primark. In recent years, many stories of unethical business practices by the retailer have arisen. For example, it was reported that a 7-year-old boy was working in one of the company's factories in southern India for just 60p an hour. Despite this lack of CSR, the company still gains customers due to its cheap clothing and unique selling points. These forms of ethics can't simply be left to implement themselves, and everyone involved must abide. A framework is required to achieve this. This framework is known as corporate governance. Corporate governance is used to implement and control actions within companies. This sets an infrastructure for all stakeholders within the company that outlines exactly what the company stands for. It is used to build trust between stakeholders and, equally importantly, the public. And corporate governance often takes place in the form of code of conduct, committees and penalties. However, just because these frameworks exist doesn't mean that people can't disobey them. For example, serious issues still arise within the workplace, such as discrimination and unlawful business dealings. The most infamous example of this, of corporate governance failing, was during the financial crisis when bankers from Barclays and RBS were trading technically within company rules, yet caused catastrophic consequences by their actions. With communication and trade becoming ever more accessible for both general society and organisations, the trade of goods and services across the globe is greater than ever. This term is known as globalisation. This process is a result of a massive increase in international trade. So, what are the positive impacts of globalisation? Firstly, many argue that globalisation provides many job opportunities in small societies, possibly in areas with very little industry. Next, more multinational businesses are created from this, which in turn creates greater motivation for entrepreneurs of the future. However, there are some negatives to globalisation. People say that many smaller, less well financially developed nations struggle more due to globalisation, due to their inability to create enterprises of their own. Next, another main argument is that the fact that it becomes detrimental to cultural identity of societies, with other nations' enterprises coming in and forcing their own culture onto society. Hence, smaller businesses trying to start up in these nations will struggle. For example, McDonald's versus a small local food outlet. The theory of a business provides society so much more than just a way of making profit by supplying goods or services to each other. They have a tendency to change the way that we live. This takes me on to our next topic, disruptive and emerging technologies. We'll start with disruptive. These are innovations that create a new market whilst disrupting an existing one for better or for worse. These may be seen to improve or sometimes hinder society as a whole, but as a consequence, marginalise some industries. A perfect example of this goes back to Mr. Henry Ford in 1908 when he released the Ford Model T, the first mass-produced motor car of its kind. It provided a reasonably inexpensive and personal method of transport for the public. However, public transport systems struggled massively because of this. Emerging technologies are a similar concept. These are technologies that are currently going through the process of production that have the potential to become disruptive and hence changing the way that our society operates in the future. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope that we were able to shed some light onto exactly what role businesses play in today's society.